Nie, nie włożę cię w dupę, to naprawdę łatwe. Ja też lubię, jak mi się tak zakręca.
Wszystko tak będzie działało od ciebie.
Szanowni Państwo, za niecałe kontynuować będziemy rozpoczętą wczoraj próbę ujeżdżenia Mistrzostw Europy we wszechstronnym konkursie konia wierzchowego w kategorii Pony. Dzisiaj na czworoboku ustawionym na głównej arenie obejrzymy 21 przejazdów, a najlepsze kuce w Europie ocenia komisja sędziowska w składzie pani Emmanuel Ollier z Francji, pani Katrin Eichinger-Nili z Austrii oraz pani Judy Hancock z Wielkiej Brytanii.
Good morning and welcome to another day at the FEI European Pony Championships.
In Strzegom. Today at Arena E we are starting with the second part of the dressage test for the eventing European Championships. We welcome our judges at H. Emmanuel Ollier from France, at C. Katrin Eichinger-Knili from Austria, and at B. Judy Hancock from Great Britain. The current best results belongs to Zoe Belloc from France with Voltaire de Lalonde, that's 28.1. And now we welcome a rider from Finland, it's Anselmi Laiho with the 12-year-old Evan Stone.
Yes, our first rider this morning is riding for Finland, Anselmi Laiho, riding Johan Stone. It's a 12-year-old grey gelding, and Anselmi has partnered this horse to a few international competitions this year already, competing in the two-star competitions successfully. Lovely straight entry, and this test then begins very quickly with the medium trot across that diagonal, showing a good difference of steps there. Good crossing of the steps in the lateral movements. first to the right, and then the riders will come back down the centre line and leg yield to the left. The horse really showing his suppleness in both directions at this early stage. Getting some nice marks with the judges for this trot work. Anselmi now needs to allow the horse forward, and you can see the horse is really taking the rein down and forward, stretching over the back, which is what we're looking for before picking back up into the working outline. Accurate and forward change into the canter. And again here this is very well ridden, showing an increasing ground cover of the steps in the medium canter without increasing the speed. Good clear difference shown. And some of these canter movements, the extension of the strides into the medium steps and the loop in from the track, really demonstrating a lot of skills that the horses will need to use in the cross-country phase. Of course, showing balance, suppleness and impulsion. This is a very obedient horse and it's very precisely ridden. Stays well balanced through the transition into the trot. Just a little hesitant in the halt there, just quite putting one foot down. Clear rein back steps shown. Lovely relaxed walk. Really demonstrating excellent overstepping, overtracking in the walk. The horse staying nice and relaxed throughout this movement. We saw some horses let the arena and the atmosphere get the better of them a little bit yesterday, but that's not a problem for Anselmi, Laiho and Ewan Stone. Coming to the end of their test. Beautiful halt to finish, and that's being rewarded with some nice marks throughout the test. Let's see what they can do to shake things up on the leaderboard. Of course, our current leader is, for the French team, Zoe Ballot with Voltaire de Lalande, who went last yesterday afternoon, scoring 28.1. But I don't think Laiho will be too far away from that, I'm sure. I'm very pleased with that performance.
Thank you very much. That was our individual rider from Finland, Anselmi Laiho with Ewan Stone. Official result is 30.9. Next to go, a rider for Team Ireland, Sarah Keane with 12-year-old Irish.
So the provisional score now in for Anselmi Laiho is 30.8. And 30.8 would pop them into 6th place, just dropping behind Sophie Vening of the Netherlands. Sarah Keane next to go with Lon Mac-Liompa. It's a grey gelding by Silver Shadow. Owned and bred by Avril Hobson. Again, nice straight entry. Lovely medium steps and rhythm through the medium trot. But just looking a little stiff here in the leg yield. Just showing a little bit of resistance. Sarah just having to work quite hard there to encourage the horse around her leg. Just not quite going in the right direction there at the beginning of this leg yield. But they're on their way now. Lateral movements better to the left here. And this pair have had some very strong performances in 2 stars already, both in 2020 and in 2021, and most recently finishing in 11th place. Just showing some resistance there. And of course, in those serpentine loops, what we really want the horse to do is take the bit forward and down, stretch over the neck, over the back, and Lon Mac-Liompa not quite understanding the assignment for that movement. And that slight tension and resistance is just being reflected in the judges' marks. A few 6s on the board. But the canter's rhythmical and balanced. And of course these ponies are so talented across the country and in the jumping phases. Now trying to show their discipline and flair for the dressage phase as well. And of course a good score here can really set them up for the rest of the competition. Just again a little bit resistant coming back there, but very neatly into the halt. Some very good rein back steps. Now in this free walk, we are looking for regularity, activity. The horse really has the freedom to stretch his neck down and forward. I'm sure he's quite taking the opportunity to do that here. Just again a little bit of resistance when Sarah is asking him to come back to her. But showing some relaxation, despite the large arena and the environment, of course, of these European Championships. Lovely and straight down to his final halt. Sarah's teammates are in fantastic positions overnight from yesterday's first day of the dressage competition. Kiva Crozier lying in second with Kildrum and Banjo on a score of 28.9, and Ted O'Leary with Rock on Pedro lying in third place with 29, so it's been a great competition already for the Irish team. But we await
Next to
Sarah's
go,
score.
another rider for Team
Let's see what she can
Belgium,
add to that performance.
Eline de Ridder with the 16-year-old Belgian-bred gelding Jo de la Grivardi. And we now have the official results for Ansalmi from Finland with Johan Stone, that's 30.8.
So a provisional score for Sarah Keane of 37.1 and a confirmed score for Anselmi Laiho of 30.8. That does take them into 6th place. Another beautiful day in Strzegom. The arena immaculately prepared for this dressage phase, the second day of dressage competition of the eventing European Championships for ponies. Where we will see the team jumping competition later today. Next in the ring will be a rider for Belgium, Eline de Ridder. And Eline rides Jo de la Givradi, which is a 16-year-old grey gelding. And this pair have completed a couple of 2 stars together this year so far, placing 6th and 16th. Eline just taking the time to allow the horse to really get used to the arena, have a good look around, giving themselves time to settle in before they begin their test. I think Eline just making the decision to take another circle there. Jo de la Givradi being perhaps a little eager to begin his dressage test this morning. But a good straight entry. Keeping up that steady rhythm. And you can see the clear transitions into and out of the medium trot. And we're looking for balance around that turn as they head into these leg yield movements. Of course, continuing the rhythm, the regularity of the trot through the lateral work. And demonstrating the suppleness and the horse's willingness to go forward on both reins. This horse taking the contact out and down well. And Aline showing a good transition in and out of the stretches there. And a good increase in ground cover of the medium steps in Canter. A little increase in pace, but they stayed in balance and demonstrated good transitions again in and out of those medium steps. Well balanced and kept the straightness through the simple change. And Aline, I think, doing very well to keep the balance through the corners. This naturally forward pony. Lovely square halt in front, not quite square behind. Here in the free walk, the horse just relaxing, having a little look around the arena, just taking the environment in. But staying fairly attentive. Showing good overtrack. Just a little jog towards the end there, just anticipating the trot transition. But it was a lovely transition once they got it. And now down to their final halt. Beautiful square halt finish. I'm sure Alina will be thrilled with that performance.
Z nieoficjalnym wynikiem 32,5 punktu karnego z czworoboku zjeżdża
Of course, Alina's compatriot Arne Kernogratz competed yesterday afternoon as well, and they finished on a score of 35.5. And so we have a confirmed score for Sarah Keenoff's second starter this morning. And Sarah Keen's score is confirmed as 37.1, takes them into 24th place.
Another rider for Team Italy, Giulia Nicastri, and the 12-year-old Irish-bred Corner.
I witamy już na głównej arenie zawodniczkę z Włoch.
We have a provisional score then for Eline de Ridder of 32.3. Next to begin, riding Cornerfest Barney, we have Giulia Nicastri riding for Italy. Giulia here riding a 12-year-old stallion by Murphy's Oscar. Making a very elegant picture on that lovely straight entry. And this pair have posted some lovely dressage scores so far in their international career together. They've competed in several one-star and two-star competitions. most recently here in Strzegom in June of this year, placing 17th. But they have top 10 finishes in Monte Libretti in Italy, at Pratoni, Palmanova, Ravenna, a handful of other top 10 finishes, with excellent dressage scores and solid jumping performances. So throughout this test we can really see the maintenance of the regularity of the rhythm, the horse's suppleness, showing a really good stretch over the back here. And really coming back to Giulia well before lovely balanced canter transition. Lovely canter loop in from the track. Maintaining a good balance through the simple change. Could have been a little straighter, but the balance is key through that movement. Here just allowing the horse forward in the medium steps in canter. This is a great partnership. You can really see the hours of training that's gone into this. Another lovely balanced transition. Now their halt was square behind but not quite in front, but the rein back steps were very good. Kept those fairly straight as well. And in the free walk, really showing a good overtrack. Really showing the relaxation, the stretch over the back. Keeping the activity. And this is being rewarded with some good marks from the judges. 6.5s, 7s. Just a little step to the side in the final halt, but it's been a lovely test. Fantastically ridden by Giulia. Making a lovely picture at the beginning of this second day of dressage in the eventing competition. You can really see the horse's hindquarter engagement in this movement. Good impulsion throughout the test. Again, really sets them up for the later jumping phases. So we have a confirmed score for Eline de Ridder. She finishes on 32.3 for Belgium. Takes them into 9th place. And the provisional score for Giulia Nicastri, 31.9. Mathieu Cuomo takes to the stage next then for France. He rides Celeste Dumontier, a 9-year-old bay stallion. Lovely extension of the steps in the medium trot. Good activity there, all the while maintaining that essential rhythm. Supple in the lateral movements. Just a little change of pace, just a little change of rhythm going into the leg yield to the left. But again, the suppleness was shown, the regularity of the steps was shown in the movement. Lovely flowing steps. Horse taking the contact down and forward through that stretch. Lovely balanced transition, very precisely ridden. And again, excellent medium steps. Keeping a good balance, keeping the rhythm, but showing that all-important ground cover. Balanced through the canter loop, coming now to the simple change. Quite balanced through the simple change, but perhaps could have been a little straighter. Really distinct transition there into the medium canter. And nicely back to the working canter. There have been some really lovely moments in this test so far. And the judges really are awarding that. Their scores are trending at around 72 and 73%, even nudging up to 75% for the judge at B. Of course, Mathieu's teammate Zoe Ballo sitting in first place currently. A good halt and some good rein back steps. Good activity and good overtrack in this free walk. Horse just allowing his head down, again allowing a good stretch over the back, all the while staying attentive and keeping the activity in the steps. Lovely final halt. Great performance from this pair. Really exciting prospect for this competition and for the future. Mathieu is a real talent, showing all of his skill in riding this test. And I think they may well take the lead here at this early stage of day 2 of the dressage of the eventing competition. Confirmed score for Giulia Nicastri of Italy. She finishes on 31.9, which pops them into 8th place. But it's Mathieu Cuomo for the French team that really could shake up the leaderboard here. Provisional score for him of 26.4. Once we have that score confirmed, that would take them into the lead, just dropping Zoe Ballot, also of France, down into 2nd.
A kolejna para, która wiedzie na czworobok, to Merle Hoffman z Niemiec i 7-letnia
So Merle Hoffman will be the next competitor to tackle this dressage test. Merle rides for Germany on a relatively young horse here. It's a 7-year-old chestnut mare, probably the youngest horse we've seen in this competition so far. Lovely entry. Very straight, very balanced around their turns. Lovely transition into the medium trot. And yes, very supple, very balanced, keeping the regularity of the steps through the leg yield. Again, lovely and symmetrical, good steps, good rhythm, good balance, good suppleness in the lateral movements on both reins here. The horse now taking the opportunity to stretch down through the neck in these 2 serpentine loops. Getting some lovely marks. 7s across the board. Lovely and balanced in the canter. Keeps the rhythm, keeps the balance. Throughout the working canter and the medium canter. And around these canter loops in from the track. Beautifully balanced through the simple change too. And this is another test that may well challenge the leaders, the new leaders. Going to be very tight at the top of this leaderboard. But of course we know that things can change very quickly when the competitors take on the cross-country course tomorrow. Lovely and balanced through all of his transitions, this horse. Perfect square halt at sea. Very good rein back steps as well. Marks for this test just creeping into the lead. It's a really exciting partnership, this. Really see the horse and rider working in harmony. Great ground cover in the steps and the free walk. And Merle just picks up again, ready for this final turn down the centre line. But this is going to be a really exciting score. Mathieu Cuomo might not have had very long at the top of the leaderboard. Another really lovely halt there to finish. Fantastic result for the German team, for the German rider here. Beautiful partnership.
Zaprezentowała się Merle Hoffman z Niemiec i Ben Lane, nieoficjalny.
So yes, the confirmed score for Mathieu Cuomo was 26.4, which did take them into the lead. But I think Merle Hoffman might just pip them to the post. Provisional score for her of 25.
For Mathieu Cuomo with the Celeste, that's 26.4. Next to go, number one on the list, the 31st rider that we will see in the dressage test. That's for Team Netherlands, Senna van.
Senna van Hout is our next starter for the Netherlands. Senna is riding Fernhill First Lady. This is a 15-year-old mare. And just beginning their test now. Good straight entry. Senna is a very experienced rider at both 1-star and 2-star level, with a number of top horses. A lot of top 10 places for Senna and for this combination. And in fact they came third here in Strzegom in June of this year. They have in fact not finished out of the top 10 since 2019. Very strong jumping performances from this pair too, as well as some strong dressage scores, but what can they do here today? Fernhill First Lady just not looking quite as supple as the horse that we've seen just previously, but it's a nice rhythmical test. Showing a good stretch down through these serpentine loops. Again, very well balanced around the canter circle throughout the medium canter and showing good transitions into and out of the medium work. Good canter loop in from the track. Again, really maintaining the regularity of the steps, maintaining the balance, maintaining the activity throughout that movement. And nicely balanced through the simple change too. This horse is now picking up some really nice marks with the canter work. It is very balanced. The impulsion is good. Still, just a little misstep there. But the marks are improving throughout the canter work. The judge is rewarding that accurate riding as well. Beautifully square in front. And 4 clear rein back steps. This horse just looking a little tighter than the previous competitor in the walk. Just starting to have a little jog. Just a little bit of tension creeping in. But here they come down to their final centre line, the final halt. Big cheers there going up from the Dutch team. So important for these riders to have their team around them. The support is really fantastic to help them get to this level, to get to these European Championships. But it's another great performance for the Dutch team.
That's Merle Hoffman from Germany with Penny Lane with the result 20.
The provisional result then for Senna van Hout for the Netherlands is 33.1.
The 17-year-old Swedish.
However, the confirmed score for Merle Hoffman for Germany is 25, so that takes them well into the lead, with second place being brought in by Mathieu Cuomo for France. Mathieu on 26.4. Evelina Collin for Sweden is our next rider. Evelina rides Courant, 17-year-old chestnut gelding owned by Karen Collin. And the pair have actually competed in Strzegom twice already. And with Courant, Evelina finished 14th here in June. And 12th in Kalundborg in Denmark. Just a little resistance there, heading around the corner before the leg yield movements. Evelina really working hard to encourage the horse to use his body in the lateral work, but there is a little bit of resistance here. Perhaps not a phase that this pony finds particularly easy, naturally. Unfortunately, just losing the rhythm a little bit as well in the lateral work. And we are looking for the rhythm to be maintained and for a flowing approach through the lateral movements as well. But it's a very good stretch across the back, very good stretch down in these serpentine loops. It'll be interesting to see how this horse picks back up. Fairly neatly done. And there was a good canter transition. There's just an element of tension, just an element of resistance in some of the transitions. But the medium canter was good. And at times the horse is just getting a little bit inattentive. It is, of course, a large arena, even without the crowds, even without the spectators. It is a unique atmosphere for them. Courant perhaps being a little distracted by that. So unfortunately a little bit of resistance there again. But Evelina riding forward, encouraging the horse to keep the rhythm. Yes, I think this is a pony that perhaps just doesn't find this phase particularly easy. Again, some loss of rhythm and some resistance in the downward transition. I think Evelina just struggling to keep the outline a bit there in those movements as well. Good rein back steps, just a little loss of rhythm in the return to walk. Could be a little more active in the free walk. The horse just having a bit of a look around again, just getting a little bit inattentive. Again, just showing that resistance, which just of course affects the rhythm. It really affects the regularity of the steps, but Evelina's riding this really well. Squeezing all the marks she can from the test. But a very good halt to finish. Again there in the leg yield, a little bit of tension and resistance creeping in. but some of this canter work was really excellent. So Evelina, Collin and Courant exit the arena. We do have a confirmed score for Senna van Houten with Fernhill First Lady. Riding for the Netherlands, their score is 33.1, and that puts them into 14th place. Evelina, Collin and Courant have a provisional score of 38.2. They won't be challenging the leaders, but it's all to play for tomorrow afternoon in the cross-country phase and, of course, in the show jumping on Saturday. So we're now going to have a 15-minute break. The arena just being levelled again there before our next competitor, who will enter the ring at 9:11 local time. That will be Petrea Fredskov Christensen for Denmark.
Ja? Była tu, ale rozpoczynam na deszcz. Tak?
Ale w sumie, dobrze by to, powinno odchodzić z Unii Europejskiej.
Szanse na dycho.
Słuchaj, jak teraz?
So we're just waiting for our next competitor to return to the arena. In this second group, on the second day of the eventing dressage. Of course, we had our first day of dressage for the eventing competition yesterday. And tomorrow the cross-country phase will begin at 3 p.m. local time, followed by the jumping phase from 10 a.m. local time, all of which of course will be live here on Clip My Horse on FEI TV. 46 starters for this eventing competition. With 13 more to go.
And so we
Beginning now with Petra Fredskov Christensen.
Eventing the dressage trial.
And Petra rides a 13-year-old bay gelding here.
Denmark is Petra Fredskov Christensen.
Gedsagard's Roberta.
13-year-old Gedsagard's Roberto.
Witamy Państwa ponownie po krótkiej technicznej przerwie. Pierwsza para, która zaprezentuje się na czworoboku, to para reprezentująca Danię, Petra Fredskov Christensen i Gedsagard's Roberto.
So this pair are just going around the arena. The bell has been rung, but of course they have time to continue working around the arena before entering.
No, pues es como siempre el dubbio, se è vero o no?
Just having a little spook there at the flowers. The arena is very beautifully dressed here. This is of course the main arena where we saw the show jumping competitions yesterday, which will continue this afternoon, and the jumping for the eventing will be in this arena on Sunday. Just a little bit wandering at the beginning of the centre line. but nice and straight now that they're in. Showing good ground cover in the medium steps. Excellent marks. An 8 from the judge at H for the entry. And Betrayer, they're riding not quite into our corners and sort of maintaining the balance by keeping a nice rounded approach into the second leg yield. Lovely and balanced through the transitions. A lovely rhythmical canter, showing the medium strides covering the ground, all the while keeping that steady rhythm. Beautifully balanced through the simple change. And again, just around those turns, Betrayer just making sure that the horse keeps the rhythm, keeps the balance. A lovely uphill canter here. And now nicely into the trot section, getting some really nice marks for this test. Halt not very square. But those are really good rein back steps. That's one of the best that we've seen. They were even and straight. Good overtrack in the free walk. Horse just being allowed to stretch his neck down. Show some stretching over the back. Of course, in the free walk, the horse needs to be allowed the freedom to completely stretch. Picking the working trot back up again for this final centre line. But it's been a lovely test, and I think this will be well rewarded as well. Perhaps not to challenge the leaders, but they should be very pleased with that. It will certainly be at the top end of the leaderboard.
Oglądaliśmy występ duńskiej zawodniczki Christensen i konia Wieca. Kolejna para to para reprezentująca Hiszpanię. Będzie to Fernandez i Canter.
Just looking at that lovely medium canter again. Really good ground cover. So our next competitor then will be for Spain, Garazzi Landetta Smith, riding Canter de Mendes.
So we've just seen the test of Dressage Caprices, and the official result is 30.7, and starting right now for Spain is Garazzi Landetta Smith with Canter de Mendes.
So lovely entry for the Spanish rider. A 9-year-old mare here. Quite quick in the trot work. So looking a little bit hurried. The hindquarters trailing a little in the leg yield. Oh, just not quite sure what was being done there. Just a little step in the wrong direction, but they've got it back. And they're now going for the stretch across the back in the serpentine loops. Really motoring through this test, this pair. But showing some stretch over the back. Ready for the canter transition. Just a little bit of resistance. But good through the medium canter. Really good impulsion there. Really keeping the rhythm well through the canter loop in from the track. This combination actually finished third at Monte Libretti in Italy in May in the 2-star competition. A little bit of resistance, just picking up the canter again after the simple change. And in both of their international starts, they've posted clean sheets across the country. Looking really nice and balanced here in the canter. Very forward-going pony, very keen to keep going with his work. Oh, just quite abrupt into the halt, but it was a nice square halt. And the required 3 rein back steps. Fairly good ground cover in the walk steps in the free walk here. The horse is taking the contact out and down. And a lovely stretch over the back in the free walk. Just starting to jog a little bit before the transition. But it was a fairly square halt to finish. And I think this is a pony that's very keen to get going with the cross-country phase. I think Garazzi Landetta Smith's done very well to keep the balance and to keep the control in this dressage phase, particularly with the dressage arena being placed in this quite large arena. And so we do have a confirmed score for Petrea Fredskov Christensen. Petrea scored 30.7. Takes them into 7th place, just ahead of Anselmi Laiho of Finland. And the provisional score for Garazzi Landetta Smith of Spain is 37. Ireland will be the nation taking to the stage next in this dressage phase of the European Eventing Championships for ponies. Grace Murtagh is our next competitor. She rides Brookless Elmar, a 16-year-old grey gelding, really interesting colour, kind of a steel grey I think we're looking at here. The horse is owned by Orla Murtagh. Let's see what the judges make of this test. Not quite straight initially on the entry, but they're more straight as they go down the centre line. Oh dear. Just breaking into canter there where the medium trot is what's expected. Oh, that's a real shame. Oh dear, that is a shame. That will affect the marks. But lovely in the leg yield. Lovely flowing movement there. Just a little stiffer in this direction in the lateral movement. Just perhaps a little bit of tension creeping in there. And the horse is taking the contact down for the stretch over the back in the serpentine loops. Perhaps not as much as some of the other ponies that we've seen, but he's also taking the opportunity to increase his pace a little. But nicely into the canter. And good medium strides there, keeping the rhythm in the canter. Just again, a little bit of stiffness in the canter loop coming back to the left. Not really straight through the simple change. But again, I think this is a pony that really is built to run and jump over the fences. Grace doing a great job here, keeping things together. Nicely down through the transition to trot. And there have been some really nice moments in this test. It's just a real shame about that early mistake in the medium trot. Just quite late on the halt. Didn't quite react on Grace's aids there. I was not quite sure about the rein back. There were a few rein back steps. Grace looking to keep the activity in the free walk, encouraging the horse to relax. Let's just hold it together, hope we don't have any. Yep, kept it to the marker before the trot. But they do make a really lovely picture. It's a really striking pony. Just a shame there's a little bit of leg crossing there in the halt. But it was very well ridden. Very well held together. And let's hope for a good score despite that early mistake. Beautiful picture. So we have a confirmed score for Garazzi Landetta Smith, our previous competitor for Spain. Her score is confirmed as 36.7. Grace Murtaugh's score is just coming in, but provisionally at the moment they are on 38.7. So far in this class we have 6 scores below the 30 penalty mark. 2 riders for Germany, 2 riders for France and 2 riders for Ireland, posting scores sub 30. But it's very tight at the top of the table. 25 for Merle Hoffman from Germany, 26.4 for Mathieu Cormot, and then a little bit more space down to Zoe Ballo, our overnight leader from yesterday, who is on 28.1. Ted O'Leary lies in 5th, he's on 29. He was in fact our first starter in the dressage phase yesterday. And then several riders around the 32 and 33 penalty mark, down to Emily Nielsen of Denmark, rounding out the list in 34th place, currently on 39.3. But here our next starter for Italy is Alessandro Massimo Bertoni, and Alessandro rides Winnie's Lad, a 10-year-old horse, another interestingly coloured horse. Alessandro could just do with being a little straighter across the diagonal in the medium trot, but the rhythm was good, the steps were good. And almost on a little travers there, just heading into the leg yield. Let's see how they manage this to the left. Just a bit of resistance there. Alessandro working hard to get the lateral movements there from this horse, who perhaps just has a little bit of stiffness in that work. This combination have had some great results already, competing in Italy and in Strzegom. A 4th and a 6th in 2-star competitions at Vairano and Montelibretti in Italy, and an 11th place in Strzegom here in June. Again, the tension just being shown a little bit in the trot transitions there. Quite a lot of tail swishing, which obviously can be a sign of some tension. And not too much distinction between the working and the medium canter. But the rhythm was good. There was a nice flowing line around the canter loop in from the track. Again, not really straight through the simple change. And the medium canter's shown better on this rein. Good maintaining of the rhythm through the second canter loop. I think the tension's just coming in as well, and the horse is looking just a little bit tight in the neck. It's a good hold. The rein back steps are there. Again, they could be straighter, but the steps were there and they were correct. And we're seeing some good ground cover in these walk steps. And again, the centre line could be straighter. Hindquarters swinging a little bit there. But Alessandro looks thrilled with the pony. I think that will put them somewhere around the middle of the field. With, of course, the jumping phases still to come.
The unofficial score is 36.2. The confirmed score for Garasi and Smith with Qatar Fernandez 37 penalty points, and for Grace Mercer with Brackers Elmar 38.7.
Kolejna para, która zaprezentuje się na czworoboku, to para z Francji, Combry i Major de Janine.
Next rider to go will be representing France, Combray with 13-year-old French bred gelding Major de Janine.
Provisional score for Alessandro Massimo Bertoni then of 36.2. Grace Murtagh, our previous starter for Ireland with Brooklyn Elmar, finished on 38.7, and that takes them into 34th place. Next to go we have Comme Breuil for France, riding Ut Major de Janière. This is a 13-year-old bay gelding by Mad Dubosc. And this pair scored 32.4 at a two-star competition that they took part in Montelibretti in Italy. It's a really sweet pony. Lovely down the centre line. A little bit of head nodding around the corner, but they kept the rhythm, they kept the balance. It's a lovely medium trot. Very clear transitions shown, very well ridden. And just the steps were good in the leg yield, but just a slight loss of balance. Quarters leading a little bit this way. Horse taking the stretch down through the two serpentine loops really well, stretching over the back. Very attentive, very obedient, picking the contact back up for the canter. Really good medium canter there, really showing the ground cover. But as we've been saying, really keeping the rhythm, showing the increased ground cover, keeping the rhythm the same. Really nice and balanced through the simple change. And this test is also being rewarded with some really nice marks. The judges trending around over 70%. Judge at C even sitting at 74%. So it'll be really interesting to see what their final score is and see where that slots into the leaderboard. Lovely and flowing through the loop in from the track. Really nice halt at sea. Very well ridden, very precisely on the marker. A few rein back steps there. Well executed. Now, time for a moment where we're looking for activity, we're looking for ground cover, both of which we can see really well here in this free walk. Really lovely walk movements. Very well balanced around the turns, this pony. Beautiful halt to finish. Really fantastic result for the French team.
Thank you very much. That was Canter with from France. The unofficial result is 27.5. The score for Alessandra Massimo Bertoni with Winnie Slots. There's 36 for each team. Plus the 14-year-old Irish bred gelding Cornerfest, Fred.
Our next starter here is Ben Connors. Ben is riding for Ireland, riding Cornerfest Fred. Another fairly young horse in the field. This is an 8-year-old bay gelding. It's by Gwennick de Goraiva. This pair are off to a really good start. Lovely lateral movement there, keeping a great rhythm, showing the suppleness. And again to the left, really showing the balance and the suppleness in both directions. Very strong pair in the jumping phases. But this is a horse that's really doing fantastic things in the dressage. They've had some good scores in their international competitions already. And in fact, they came third in the 2-star at Mallow, adding just 1.2 show jumping time penalties to their dressage score, which on that occasion was 32.5. Can they go better than that here? They will need to challenge the leaders in the dressage phase. But of course, the leaderboard could really be shaken up after the cross-country phase tomorrow afternoon. Lovely and balanced through the Canter loop in from the track. Nicely through the simple change, just the horse just swinging his quarters a little bit in there, but the rhythm was good. The balance was good. Was really taking the opportunity to extend the stride, cover the ground in the medium canter. And here again, lovely flowing lines through the canter loop in from the track. Very smart picture, and of course these riders will have their support teams with them who will be helping to turn these ponies out so immaculately. Cornerfest Fred, a fantastic example of that, lovely halt. And it is 3 to 5 steps that are required, and there were 3 clear rein back steps there. Getting some really nice marks from the judges. Sevens across the board. And very nicely through the medium walk. Good over track, good rhythm, good activity in the walk. Extremely balanced through the transitions, this pony. Lovely halt to finish. I should think Ben will be really thrilled with that. Support team cheering on there from the sidelines. And just making quite a speedy exit from the dressage ring. But there were some lovely moments in that test. All the hard work and the training paying off. Beautiful performance. So we have a confirmed score for Merle of France. Our previous competitor finishing on a score of 27.5, and that takes them into 3rd place. A little bit of discrepancy between the judges' scores for the French competitor. Percentages ranging from 74.55 to 71.14. But of course all of the judges can see the test at different angles. They're all looking for different things, and they're looking from different perspectives. So yes, 27.5 for the French rider, and a provisional score for Ben Connors of Ireland with Cornerfest Fred of 30.3, and that would in fact be their best dressage score in an international competition yet. Our next competitor then is Lauren Blemart. She rides for Belgium, and she rides Hoppenhoff's Canter Z. This is a 12-year-old gelding by Hoppenhoff's Strzegom. They have had a really nice start there. Lovely and straight down the centre line. And 7.5 from the judges for that entry. And it was beautiful across the diagonal in the medium trot, really showing the ground cover. And very accurate. Lovely flowing movement in the leg yield to the right. Again, just showing that suppleness to the left as well in the leg yield. Was well balanced. And this is a horse that's actually had 2 third placings Won it in a 1-star competition at Varsseveld and won in a 2-star competition at Oud-Kaspel in the Netherlands. Lovely rhythm throughout this test. Very balanced in the transitions. Also nice and rhythmical through the canter loop in from the track. A little loss of rhythm along this short side there. Very well ridden through the simple change. And again, the balance is nice, the rhythm is nice through the canter movements. And again, this test is being rewarded with some nice marks. 6s and 7s. Halt not square in front, which is a shame. But the rein back steps were fairly good. Good overtrack and good activity in this walk. The horse really taking the opportunity to relax down through the rein. This has been a really nice test. Our third competitor for Belgium so far. Yep, lovely turn down the centre line. Again showing that balance. And a lovely halt to finish. A confirmed score is now in for Ben Connors and Cornerfest Fred. They finished on a score of 30.3 for Ireland. That puts them into 8th place. Did a really lovely test, and with that going into 8th place, you can really see what it takes to be at the top of this leaderboard. Everything needs to be as good as possible. Getting really quite tight at the top there. And in fact, a provisional score for Lauren Blemart of 30.4. Just 0.1 of a penalty behind Ben Connors.
Tegen van die zaken groentjes.
So our final competitor in this section will be Giulia Manoni. Giulia rides for Italy and rides the pony Douglas. Douglas is by Shadows Done and is a 10-year-old grey gelding. It's a really experienced pair and they've had some really fantastic results. They've had several wins and second places. Second in Strzegom in the 2-star in June. Second at Monte Libretti, and they won their 2-star competitions in Vairano, in Pratoni, and in Ravenna 2019 in the 1-star. But it's a very consistent combination. Hardly any jumping penalties added to their dressage scores in their previous competitions. A lovely start for them. Lovely straight entry. And a little bit of a difference of opinion in the judges. A 6.5, a 7 and a 7.5 for the entry. There's a nice flowing movement in the leg yield. Keeping a good rhythm, a good balance. Just now moving into the rising trot around these 2 serpentine loops, allowing the horse to stretch down. And the test requires a clear distinction between the stretch down and picking back up, and of course in a clear distinction in the transitions to and from the medium canter, which we can see demonstrated really well here. Lovely balanced movement in the canter work. And it was balanced and it was rhythmical through the simple change. Well, possibly could be a bit straighter, but it was well balanced. Nice impulsion and ground cover shown in the medium canter on this left rein. And a lovely rhythm through the canter loop in from the track. Perhaps a little loss of balance through the turn there to this diagonal line. And it's a nice halt at sea, really demonstrating a good moment of immobility before the rein back steps, and they're really nice rein back steps, lovely big steps. Let's see if we can demonstrate the ground cover in the free walk. Yes, we can. Horse really swinging through his back in this free walk. Just turning the quarters in again there a little bit, but it was a nice transition. And nicely into that final halt. Great performance from them for the Italian team. So we have a confirmed score then for Lauren Blemart of Belgium. She finishes on 30.4, just behind Ben Connors of Ireland, who is on 30.3. Ben now in 8th place and Lauren Blemart in 9th. The provisional score for Giulia Manoni is 32.3. And 32.3 will probably take them around the middle of the field. Of course, we do have another 6 riders to go after the break. It'll be our final 6 competitors to go in the dressage phase of these European Eventing Championships. So we will be back in 15 minutes for the final section.
22 past 10. The team results for now. Ireland is in the lead with 88.2. France in second with 90 penalty points. England and Germany with 91.1. We have still yet to see the final team riders from France, Germany, Netherlands, Sweden, Denmark and Spain.
I witamy już na głównej arenie zawodniczkę reprezentującą Francję, wchodzącą w skład francuskiej drużyny. Jest to Rinaldi i Boston di Verdon.
So we're back after the break. We welcome the last rider for...
Here we are then, it's the final section of the dressage phase of the FEI European Eventing Championships for ponies. 6 riders left to go, and the first of those into the ring will be May Rinaldi. May rides for France and partners Boston de Verdon here. This is a 10-year-old bay stallion. It's by Salam du Roc. It is owned by Brigitte Rinaldi.
Depuis que la caméra, ça peut te rapporter plus que la vacation de la semaine, je te le dis. Celle-là, je te dis,
This pair actually won their previous run at 2-star level in Montelibretti. 26.4 dressage was their score there, and they only added some jumping time penalties to take the win. It has been a great start already. Beautiful entry, lovely and straight. Really keeping the rhythm up very well. The judge at B even stretching to an 8 for the entry. Nice and supple, keeping the rhythm through the leg yield. Let's see how they tackle that on this rein. Again, lovely rhythm. Lovely work in the lateral movements. Posting some really nice scores already. Now the horse being asked to take the contact forward and down to stretch over the back through these 2 trot serpentine loops. A lovely balanced upward transition. Great ground cover in the medium canter. The horse really engaging behind. Really showing some good impulsion. Maintaining the energy while also keeping that all-important rhythm. And these scores are really impressive. Judges trending over 77%. Could this be our new leader? Lovely through the simple change. Again, very well balanced. Just a great partnership between horse and rider. Very clear transition into the medium canter. Very precisely ridden transition, more so than some of the other combinations we've seen so far this morning. May really making the use of the arena, riding well into the corners, really asking for the movements, perfectly on the markers, and the judges will reward that precise riding too. It's a beautiful test to watch.
L'arrêt, il n'a pas trop bien fait tout à l'heure.
Lovely down to the hole. The hole not quite square. With a very good rain back steps. And now, of course, heading into the free walk.
Il est bloqué le compteur ou quoi?
Good ground cover in these walk steps.
Ah non, tu vois? Ah putain, il est descendu.
You really see the overtrack. There's a good activity and the rhythm's kept up well in the walk.
Il n'a pas été descendu aussi de c'est un peu exceptionnel, hein? J'ai jamais des histoires comme ça. Hein?
This pair really at the pinnacle of their training. All their hard work culminating in these European Championships.
Zari, il n'a jamais pas fait un paddock correct.
Lovely halt to finish. Surely that will be well rewarded.
Doskonale prezentują się zarówno ze strony konkursu konia wierzchowego, jak i w skokach.
Our current leader, of course, earlier this morning, Merle Hoffman. Merle for Germany sits on 25 penalties. But for May Rinaldi, the provisional score is 23.2. Fantastic score for a fantastic test. Up next then is Marie Fernandez Maya. Maya Marie Fernandez riding for Germany on Maruto. 9-year-old stallion by Makuna Matata. The horse just having a little moment before heading into the ring to begin the test. And Maya Marie Fernandez, a very experienced rider with a number of talented horses in the string. And in fact, with Maruto, won their last competition. That was a 2-star competition at Westerstede in Germany. But a lot of top 10 finishes for this combination. And Maya also competes in show jumping. Competed on the Children's Nations Cup team in Hagen in show jumping. Test going very well so far. Seeing some lovely scores for this rhythmical work. Another pony going beautifully uphill. And a great stretch down over the back. Here in the serpentine loops. That was a really clear transition into the medium canter. You can see the horses really engaging the hindquarters extremely well in this movement. Lovely flowing canter loop in from the track. Another really clear medium canter there. Again, very balanced, very rhythmical through these turns. And lovely down to the halt at sea. Well, those were nice straight rein-back steps. Good activity in the walk. Good ground covers seen again here. And again, the judges giving some really good marks. Over 70% they're trending with their scores. But, of course, May Rinaldi, who went just before Maya Marie Fernandez, posting that exceptional score, which will be hard to beat. A lovely balanced transition. Just a little sideways step into the final halt, but it's really square and it's really good end to a great test. So a provisional score then for Maya Marie Fernandez is 27.5. But the confirmed score for May Rinaldi, 23.2. That looks like a really difficult score to beat. Our new leader for France.
We have the official result for May Rinaldi from France with Boston de Verdun. That is 23.2, and that means that she is the new leader in the class, and that Team France are the leaders after Dressage with 77.7. Next to go, last to go for the Netherlands, Canter with 18-year-old Dutch-bred Orchids Tiger Sign.
Our next rider, the third in this section then, is Kato de Schmidt. Kato rides Orchid's Tiger Sun. This is an experienced pony, 18-year-old chestnut gelding. And this pair have only ever finished in the top 10 in their international starts. Fantastic record for them. They've always been clear in the cross-country for jumping, just picking up time faults in 2 competitions. But they've posted some really good dressage scores in the past. What can they do here? It's a lovely medium trot. Very clear transitions. well set up for the leg yield. Nice flowing lateral movement, keeping the rhythm. Lots of sevens already for this test. And you can see the horse really swinging through his back in the trot work. And just stretching down. Taking the contact forward and down. Staying balanced in the transition back to the working trot. As Kato picks up that contact again. And then again, a lovely balanced upward transition. Clear transitions into and out of the medium canter there as well.
Nee, dat heeft hij echt nog nooit in zijn leven gedaan.
Just a couple of little trot steps there towards the end of that canter loop. Perhaps just didn't quite have the impulsion of some of the previous movements. And the hindquarters just swung out a little bit in the transition back to canter through the simple change. But again, lovely medium canter, demonstrating that ground cover, demonstrating the increase in the length of stride. And again, very balanced in the transition. Down now towards the final few movements. And it's a nice hold, it's not quite square. But again, some really nice rein back steps. I think we've seen that being done very well this morning. Kato de Schmidt just ensuring that the activity keeps up in the walk. Yet it's a nice forward walk. Again, the ground cover is evident. Horse staying relaxed through the walk as well. Oh, just spoke too soon, just a little jog there, just a little moment of tension. And a perfect halt to finish. Great performance. This pair look very pleased with themselves. But interestingly, in the trot work, the scores were looking to be quite well under 30. Just crept up in the canter there. Of course, we had that little mistake in the canter loop on the right rein with a couple of trot steps, but
Thank you very much. That was,
there are a lot of nice moments in that test, and this is definitely going to be a very competitive combination.
The unofficial result is 31.
Extremely competitive in the next phase in the cross country tomorrow.
That's 27.3. That means that Team Germany finishes their dressage on 83.5.
So a confirmed score then for Maya Marie Fernandez for Germany. She now sits in 4th place with 27.3. May Rinaldi for France remains our leader on 23.2, and a provisional score for Kato de Schmidt with Orchid's Tiger Sun is 31.5. Next up we have Sally Vidvangen. She rides for Sweden, and she partners Lachlan Ladd, a 13-year-old chestnut gelding. Here, nice balanced entry. Again, this is an experienced pair. They've competed in 1-star and 2-star competitions together. Another combination who competed in Strzegom in June. They just had a few show jumping fences down on that particular event to finish in 21st. A little bit stiff to the leg yield there. And again, just not quite keeping the rhythm in the leg yield. But the horse looking to be taking the bit forward and down really well for the stretch. Sally Vidvangen allowing the horse to stretch over the back. Nice and balanced around the circle in Canter. And again, keeping the rhythm really well through the Canter loop in from the track. Very good ground cover in the medium canter. This is a horse that really covers the ground. And in fact, across their record so far, they've picked up very few cross-country time penalties. That big stride obviously serving them well in the cross-country phase. Just taking the time to balance the horse after the transition and into this trot work round to the halt at sea. Just a little adjustment in the halt. Keeping the activity in the walk, keeping that forward rhythm. Lovely down that final centre line to the halt. Big cheers going up from the Swedish team. It was an impressive performance. I don't think it will challenge the leaders, but
Happy team until you are represented by Merle Hoffman. The official score is 32.
so a confirmed score then for Kato de Schmidt for the Netherlands. The previous rider was 31.6. It's a good score, but that takes them into 16th place. So they are in the top third of the competitors. And a provisional score for Sally Wittwangen with Lachlan Ladd of 32.9. Just 2 competitors left to go then, and we now have for Denmark Sue Kaas. Sue rides Hester Clower Be My Best Smoky. The penultimate competitor in this dressage phase entering the ring. This has also been a really consistent combination. They've had a lot of top 10 finishers, very consistent in their jumping, cross country especially. And in fact this combination won in Strzegom in the two-star in 2019. Very rhythmical through the leg yield on this rein. And again, really nice and balanced, really nice and rhythmical on the leg yield to the left as well. And we noticed that a lot of the competitors today do have the protective ears on their horses. In yesterday's competition we saw a couple of the competitors being a little bit upset by the flies. It is a warm weekend in Strzegom this weekend, and so the competitors this morning have taken the precaution of wearing the ears. Lovely balance and rhythm through the turn in the canter loop. And really balanced through the simple change. Very nice and straight. Clear transition into the medium canter. test getting some really nice marks. Sub 30 for now. Can they keep that up? Again, another lovely flowing canter loop. Another lovely balanced transition. And everything about this test has been really very correct. Very balanced, very rhythmical. Oh, just a little adjustment, just stepping to the side in the halt there. But really good rein back steps. Very positive in the rein back steps. Again, that's one of the better ones we've seen throughout the competition. Nice and relaxed, good ground cover in the walk steps. And just making sure that the horse stays in walk until that marker. Lovely down to the final halt. Horse and rider looking very pleased with themselves for that performance, and so they should. Real display of talent from them both, and some really great riding from Strzegom.
And we've just seen the
Beautiful test.
test of Sivka's,
So a confirmed score then for Sally Vidvangen, our previous competitor for Sweden.
score is 29 points.
Her score is confirmed as 32.7, which pops them into 21st place.
32.7.
And generally we've seen the judges' scores being quite similar. But for Sally Vidvangen we do have quite a discrepancy. We range from 65% to 70% between the judges.
Next to go, the last one in the dressage.
A provisional score for Strzegom of 30.2. Those scores were trending below 30 for a long time through the test, but the provisional score overall is 30.2. 30.2 would slot them into 9th place. Our final competitor then, in the dressage phase of these FEI European Eventing Championships for ponies, will be Claudia Heredia Baena. And Claudia rides for Spain. She rides Balili Villalas. And Balili Villalas is a 10-year-old bay mare. By Slackport Prince. And this combination have competed in 3 2-star competitions and a 1-star competition before heading to these European Championships. And they placed second in the 2-star at Sevilla, 10th here in Strzegom in June, and 18th in a 1-star in July in Hamm in Germany. So the final competitor in this dressage phase enters the arena. Score to beat: May Rinaldi, Boston de Verdon for France, 23.2. have a good entry, nice and straight, demonstrating the increased ground cover in the medium trot. Steps just looking a little bit hurried here in this test, but the rhythm is quite consistent. There's perhaps a little loss of balance going from the leg yield to them moving to the straight line. I'm not showing too much stretch over the back, a little bit more now, as Claudia gives the reins in the trot serpentine loops. Just a little bit of a loss of balance in the canter transition, just running through the transition a little bit there. Nicely flowing through the canter loop in from the track. Just a slight loss of balance in the corner, but Claudia recovers it well. A very quick, simple change, but that is what's required, and they stay balanced through that. Lovely medium canter, and again Claudia really showing her skill, using the arena to her advantage, riding very accurate lines, riding into the corners, getting as many marks as she can out of this test through careful and accurate riding. Again, just a slight bit of resistance in the downward transition, but neatly into the halt, just a little step back into a perfect square halt. Good rein back steps, kept them in a straight line. And here we're looking to keep the activity in the walk. We're looking for the ground cover of the steps, and we're looking for the horse to keep the relaxation, to keep the walk. And just keeping the rhythm. It's not quite straight in the walk, but the rhythm is good. And it's a good halt to finish. And that test will head them into around the middle of the field, heading into the cross-country phase. And of course anything can happen over the weekend. So the final competitor in the dressage phase has now completed her test. We have a confirmed score for Sue Kass of Denmark of 29.5. And we had to wait quite a while for more tests under the 30 penalty mark. But 29.5 now puts Sue Kass into 10th place. A provisional score for Claudia Heredia Baena is 32.6. And the competitors now, of course, need to get themselves ready for the next phase, the cross country. The cross country will be live here on FEI TV on Clip My Horse tomorrow afternoon, Saturday, from 3 p.m. local time. And that will then be followed by the show jumping on Sunday, the eventing show jumping beginning at 10 a.m. local time. So join us again for the next two phases of this exciting competition. France is in the lead. May Rinaldi, 23.2. France also lead the team competition with some great scores. All three of the scores counting so far being under 30. Their cumulative score after dressage is 77.7. Germany lies in second place on a cumulative score of 83.5. Ireland currently rounding out the podium places in third with 88.2. Denmark have 92.7 for fourth place. The Netherlands on 95.1 for fifth. They're followed by Italy, Belgium, Sweden, and then Spain. But the scores really are tight, and it's all to play for in the next two phases over the weekend. So join us again from tomorrow afternoon, 3 p.m, for the cross-country phase of the FEI European Eventing Championships for ponies here in Strzegom.
Le matin, c'est dur, hein.